Greetings to everyone, people of all nations. I speak out now about the future because right now the future seems bleak for most of us. Our earth is seriously at risk. Many of us are in despair, and many of us suffer. And by now, many of you have learned some of the reasons why. So the question is this: since there is so much corruption and unfairness in the world, and since the forces of greed and selfishness use all their wealth and power to their own benefit and to the detriment of the great majority of us, what do we, the people of the world, do about it? Now, I know that most of you by now feel powerless to do anything about it. Many of you feel helpless and hopeless. Some of you just feel apathetic. And many of you are angry. After all, the peaceful protests that have been demonstrated in many countries around the world have essentially been fruitless. And in some instances, they've been dangerous. So, as our situation worsens, I fully understand why there is a growing call for revolution. And I fully understand why there is a growing search for a conquering hero. But I am not a warrior, unless you consider that the pen will ultimately prove mightier than the sword. But I am merely a messenger who tells you that you do not need anyone playing the role of warlord or king or God or Savior, because only the eternal one is the Savior, which by any other name is God the Holy One. And its Spirit of truth will liberate and empower all of us, because it is within all of us. Now, when you realize that and what it means to us, you will realize this fact: we, the people of the world, must liberate and empower ourselves. And to do that, we need to establish good and fair governments that are actually of the people, by the people, and for the people. But as you well know, that is not what we have now. As you well know, what we do have now are governments of the rich, by the rich, and for the rich. But we, the people, can change that, especially in America, thanks to the Constitution, which has provisions for us to do that. In Article 5. And we can establish a good and fair government that will represent us all, that will promote the general welfare as America's founders intended, and that will use the commonwealth for the common good. Now, of course, that will take a change of heart, a change of mind, and a change of attitude on everyone's part. But it will help immensely if we all try to realize that we are all created equal in the sight of God, which is really the great spirit parent of us all. We are all members of one diverse family that we call humanity. And we should celebrate our diversity rather than use it as an excuse to take on attitudes of superiority and judge others as inferior, as so many misguided people do. I tell you that because too many of you are listening to the wrong people, the self-righteous people, self-important people, bigoted people, hypocritical people, and greedy people who are very deceptive, all of whom think they are superior, whether it's because of their wealth or their religion or nationality or race or political party. But the truth is that people who take on such attitudes of superiority are obstacles to human progress and human evolution. So, rather than listen to them, I ask you to listen to the Spirit of truth that is within you. Because the Spirit of truth comes not to condemn, but to educate. Not to punish, but to correct. And not to destroy, but to save. I serve the Spirit of truth. And I ask you to join me in doing so, regardless of your religion and whether you are religious or not. After all, the Spirit of truth is universal. And the Spirit of truth is the same as the Spirit of love, the Spirit of freedom, the Spirit of justice, and the Spirit of peace, all of which we so desperately need now. Who am I to say so? Well, you don't know me yet, because I have been hidden, as it were. And one of the reasons for that was revealed in metaphors in the book of Isaiah, chapter 49. Which is why I now say that I have been hidden in the shadow of God's hand. And God has made me, over a period of time, like a polished and sharp arrow that has been concealed in God's quiver. Now, those are metaphors, of course. But the words are attributed to the servant of God who fulfills prophecies. He who has actually been stricken and afflicted, who has suffered many things, along with many of you, and who has been rejected by his generation. And now, being 74 years old, having overcome much, and probably being not long for this world, due to several afflictions, I can tell you that I am he. It's hard for me to say. But I am. And all the wars and all the rumors of war have been and are just some of the signs that preceded and portended my appearance. And that's just as Jesus of Nazareth prophesied, foretold. Now, I should tell you that the metaphor of the arrow to which the prophets Isaiah and Ezekiel referred don't refer to me personally, because physically this body is in jeopardy. The arrow is more like the stone mentioned in the book of Daniel, who wrote that there will be a stone that shatters the image of the beast king. And the stone that shatters the symbolic beast king will become as a great mountain that fills the earth. The stone is a symbol for the Spirit of truth, the message from the Spirit of truth that the Son of Man delivers. Now that message I have delivered in the songs that I sing, which were my first works, and in the written work that was accomplished between 1984 and today. I've been at this for a long time. Now, my work isn't perfect, just as I am not perfect. But even though I am only human to a fault, I do nevertheless serve the Spirit of truth. And now, having delivered my work, I produce this video so that you can see me, so that you can hear me speak. Not in public, or from behind a podium or a pulpit, which I will not do, but personally, like this, through electronic communication, which is ironically like lightning, which somehow Jesus of Nazareth foresaw and foretold when he spoke of the Son of Man to come. Now, when enough people get the message, which I have delivered before me, then we will be able to begin to change the world. We'll be able and willing to confess our errors and offenses, reconcile our differences, make amends, and thereby make peace, so that we may finally establish governments in each nation in the world, so that all nations become members of one family of nations, so that the truth may enable all religions to become members of one family of religions, so that we may improve this world, make it what it should be, clean it up, for the benefit of all humanity, for the benefit of our children and our children's children, for posterity. It is up to you. It is up to all of us. And I know you will realize that. Thank you for listening.